so, and then at the end, you guys let me know what odds you want me to look at. I'll go over them too. So quickly to cover Bitcoin, right? Intraday levels, right? I was looking around these lows to be swept, right? Monday low. But why did I long here? I'll give you the reasonings why. So I'm not sure if you guys use any. So in trading, you have like you price action concepts, and then like additional confluences like order flow, right? So for scalping, order flow is really helpful. And I was using this order flow platform called Key Attacker. So I was looking on the footprint, and it was basically showing me the buy and sell orders, and I saw heavy absorption here at the lows, right? So basically, what I when I saw the heavy absorption, I decided to take a long here at the sweep of these lows. It was going on to be like an M15 SFP, so I decided to take a shot. Um, Wait, actually, I'll alert my channel saying I'm live as well. There we go. So yeah, I decided to take a long at the lows, even though we had PYs uh, lower here, Monday low as well. I put my stops right below Monday low in case it swept, just about swept. And this was more of a hedge long, right? So I didn't mind if this stopped out because we were in a soul short, which I'll explain why I took this as well. So, like on the higher time frame, let's go on the 4 hour, right? Um, we had just swept like this high here on the H4. So I literally basically marketed it in as soon as that that H4 closed. So, and by the way, keep in mind like I could have gone on a better entry, but I wanted to get an entry around the 382 because Solana was looking very weak relatively to Bitcoin. This like was very weak. Like look, Sol swept this low here. That's around where I took the TP one. It was around 2R, and basically I could have shorted the Bitcoin as well up here, but like I said, it was Solana was like much more relatively weak than Bitcoin was. So that was kind of my bias for that. We'll see. My first TP for Bitcoin will be like around these highs here, and then so basically what my plan is, um, up here I'll take TP, move stops break even, and ideally, right, we would get filled in this short, which I will explain in a minute as well. And so say we get filled in the short, right, and it ends up stopping out, and which I don't expect we go sweep this high in one candle. We may, it's possible, right? It'd be lovely if we're like still in this long. That's my idea, right? I'm gonna hold this. I'm gonna hold it like a chunk of this for up here. So yeah. So my idea, right, is to trim some more here. As short fills, ideally we get a good reaction. Take a TP on that. Um, And yeah, so if that doesn't happen and we go straight, like we break out, right? I probably we'll see. Like I may either decide to close fully here if this high here gets SFP'd, or I literally will just leave runners for like a lot higher, either 2025 low or the POIs that I've talked about, like pretty much every stream at this point. Um, like the main PI would be I've got a chart. I've got a separate chart, like a higher time frame chart, so I can go over it again. But like between like 78 and like 80 is where I plan to open a swing short. So we'll see how that goes. If like I see some insane, spot buying up at these highs, if it's just perps long in, like degenerately long in, that's not really a good sign, right? It's not the most bullish thing you want to see. TP1. No, so okay, I'll explain right how my TPs usually are. So TP1, oh Jesus, how do I? I'll just type it. I can't be asked to draw. TP1 is always going to be around 2R, right? So, and that will be a 25% trim. So I backtested quite a lot last year. So like I backtested like 2 years worth of data using like like similar system that I use in Confluences, and I found that the best way for me personally is to take a 25% trim at like around 2R, right? So that would be realizing if it's a half risk trade, obviously it'd be half risk, right? So, but just for the convenience, we'll just say let's just say 1 hour risk, right? Trade is up 2R, we take 25%, so we're realizing 0.5R. If the trade round trips and ends up going to stop loss, it's only a 0.25R loss, right? So I don't mind that. I'd rather that than moving stops break even, and there's a massive chance that I get stopped out break even. I've seen I literally back tested, and that happened a lot of times, right? A lot of times before hitting the full TP, right? It would round trip to break even. So I would always take a TP1 like around 2R, but not move stops break even, right? You guys can play it differently, obviously, but that's my like kind of way I do it. And then obviously like around 3 to 4R, depending on how price action looks, or whatever level I'm targeting, I will just fully close the trade there. Um, Down here, this was a huge fumble, if I'm being honest. I like so basically the idea was we got filled during war news, so and it was a full 1 hour risk trade, so I was up around like 1.2 ish R, and I said I'll take the profits. I think we're going lower. Um, mm, so what I should have just done is just close the chart and not look at this fucking trade, but um, yeah, we weren't. That was a it's bad execution on my part. February was execution wise, it wasn't good, but I think my bias was um was pretty solid. I just need to, well, it's always it's never it's always it's almost always never a price action issue. It's always, I'd say, an execution issue, right? So, but we'll see what happens. So we're in this so long. I will take a TP like I've got limits set for here. What is it? 69.3. And then for Sol, I mean Sol's looking. I haven't moved stops break even on Sol yet. So if it goes to stop loss, like it's practically a break even trade because I took 25% like here. So it'd be a very small loss, and Bitcoin long would make up for it if it does stop out. So we'll see. Um, yeah, wave. Yeah, I mean, I honestly once I saw this strength, um, my bias was like, okay, well, like my high time frame bias was like, okay, well, we got some massive I can't really think of anything more bearish right now than war, and the fact that we saw this strength in like whenever it basically what my thought process was, okay, well, the war's like kind of happening already, like, so it's priced in. If people have the confidence to buy here, it means investor risk is like higher than for example, like we were dumping around like uh I mean, you could argue any month before January we were dumping hard, and there wasn't necessarily any bearish news behind it, right? So, and now that we've gotten the fact that we got like a massive catalyst for lower, and that didn't happen. I mean, that's pretty bullish, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. But like, I think we do see a rejection from 71 first. That's why I've got the short leg up here, and this is a full 1 hour risk trade, right? So I think that wick high there, either this one, there's 3 wicks that like I expect to get swept. This one I think would be a little bit preemptive. Considering the 886 is up there, I think I could see that getting tagged. So that lines up with that high. But like if so for example, this long down here, right? I remember Sash said that's an extreme entry. And yeah, like it was, right? It definitely was. And me myself, I didn't think we would get filled that quickly, right? Me myself, I didn't think we would get filled that quickly. But my point is, range extremes are like one of the best setups you can play because your invalidation is very tight. Risk to reward is solid. So, same idea, same idea for the short, right? As down here, and yeah. So, and this morning I remember I said in my channel we have like so if we pull a fib real quickly, I deleted it, but um, let me put it back on. So we had, yeah, well, we definitely had POIs to go lower. Naked point of control around 886. That was like would have been like my range extreme long down here. Um, another one would have been like Monday low sweep. That would have been another setup for me. The fact that I took this long preemptively, it was solely because I saw absorption at the lows. And honestly, I could have gotten away with a tire stop, right? But I didn't want to get wicked out, just in case it did like dig a little deeper. So yeah, I got good entry also on ETH with Bitcoin. Nice, man. What entry do you have? What entry on ETH? Let me look at ETH real quick. Hold on, let me move ETH up here. Ethereum. 1942. 1942. Oh yeah, solid entry. So you've got entry like close to this like it's this is the fib pool from that low that we made on Tuesday. So you got an entry close to here, right? Close to those lows. I'm guessing you took the long today though, right? So you should be up nice. We're rejecting of like the middle MDM, right? Monday mid. We'll see. With the way Bitcoin's looking, things could definitely push higher from here, right? The setup I was looking for would be, um, if we do sweep these equal highs here. Let me remove um, the the spaceman indicator for a second. This wick here never swept the high, right? So those are equal highs. That would be a target for me if I was in a long, right? Swing long. So those highs get swept. I'll be looking for a short. I'll be looking for short triggers. But obviously, like if it closes above, like for example on the H4, I'm not going to short that, right? Um, my triggers would be either like a lower time frame breaker structure or an SFP, one of those two. So so ETH swept yesterday here as well, but I decided to go with Sol. It looked a lot weaker than Bitcoin. And I mean, yeah, now it's pumping up. Honestly, I genuinely don't mind, and I'm not moving stops break even because I know it can do this, right? I know it can wake my break evens aren't invalidations, right? Hold on, there we go. It's more lined up now. So it could easily wick my break even and then go down, and because I've already trimmed, even if it goes to stop loss, it wouldn't. It would be say I risk 1R, right? It'd be 0.5R realized down here. Stopped out here would be 0.75R, so 0.25R loss. But it was a half risk trade, right? So it's half that. Yeah, check God real quick. Okay. Oh no, I know it nuked, right? What? Oh, you fucking shitting me. Oh, you're taking the piss. So you're telling me if I kept my old limit, it would have hit 4R? Okay then. Sash, man, why do you tell me to look at this, man? Fuck. Alright. Let's, fucking hell. Let's forget that ever happened. Okay, so zoom out here for a bit. Oh my god. That was so clean. Alright, we're gonna have alerts next time. So look, we're in this like range here. Yeah, if you can even call this a range, I would personally, because look, range lows, range highs, and we're just like ranging a bit, ranging higher, but we are in a range. So we just had a fucking fat reaction, right? From what is this? Like the midpoint, right? What are the So on this chart, it front ran the H4 200 EMA, but I would on gold it tends to front run sometimes. Like here it front ran, here it ran right through, right? But I mean, I would still say like that tagged. Here it front ran, here it Pico tag. So like yeah, I would count this as like tagging H4 200 EMA. We'll see. Does it go lower? I don't know. But I'm guessing the reason why people are dumping gold is because most of the bearish news is like somewhat priced in, right? This pump here was all like buy the rumor, and then of course this dump is gonna be like sell the rumor, right? So also I'd like to add the fact. Let's quickly look at Nasdaq because Nasdaq. I don't know if you know this, Sash, but like they're pretty correlated sometimes. Bitcoin and like the Nasdaq. Nasdaq was like pretty bearish today. Um, right up until like I'd say 30 minutes after New York, we put in that low. But when this was going down, it made a new low, right? But Bitcoin, it made a higher low. So ICT traders, I wouldn't call myself an ICT trader, but when there's ever like what do you call it? Like whenever like two assets, they usually look at like Nasdaq and ES, right? So the S&P. When like both of them are like decorrelated, like in the terms of like one makes a higher high, and the other one makes like a sorry, one makes a higher low and the other one makes a lower high. That's called SMT divergence. So Bitcoin today was looking stronger than Nasdaq, and usually it's the other way around. So that was like another small confluence for the long. So it doesn't happen often, and it's not like 100% accurate, but something to keep in mind. It is a can be sometimes a nice confluence. Almost 6%, yeah. You mentioned in crypto chart front runs. Oh, the gold chart, right? Wait, oh, you're looking at the Binance Pub chart, right? Yeah. The Binance Pub chart, man, it's different to the actual spot gold chart. So this was my old limit, right? Yeah, I mean it would have hit, is what it is, but yeah. So this is the H4 EMA. Yeah, so it's completely different to the actual gold chart. So I mean, what I personally do is I like try and like match it uh, as close as possible to the exact level. But like for example, let's just say I'm trying to long gold at like 50.16. I wouldn't put the same limit as I would on like the Binance perp chart. I'd look at like where that level is on here um, compared to like the actual one here. Like I use Oanda, but you can use pretty much anything. TV like TradingViews chart or Forex.com or Capital.com. They're all the same. But yeah, gold right now. What's my bias would be well. This is premium. This is discount. So under here, you'd be looking for reason to get long, right? And vice versa here. So and it just Pico tagged premium. So yeah, like there might be a long here, but structure wise, it's still in a downtrend, right? Until it breaks that high, it's still down in a downtrend. So you could knife catch here. Um, it technically did SFP this well. It SFP'd here, but then we re-sweeped it quite a bit lower here. So if this candle closes like this, it is like a H4 SFP of these lows, and it tagged like the 50% of this like massive range, right? Mm, man, next time I'll probably I'll probably set limits because I realistically I would have never kept this, but obviously we had some nice confluences here. H4 200, like this 50% area here. Um, that would have been a nice. Even I would have probably used wider stops though, but it was a nice. Oh wait, did you long Sash? I don't even know if you longed. Maybe you did. Also, Hyperliquid. We got to talk about this one. I'll cover this. So, okay, we're just gonna delete this because I'm not in that. Um, hold up. I was charting a different one earlier. Yeah, I was charting the Binance one. Um, oh fuck. Okay. Well, I took Bitcoin instead of Hype, but this was valid in terms of like structure wise. Like, where would you think the higher low would be? Well, like 618 golden pocket, right? This was a valid long. I'm not in this by the way, FYI, so I'll just delete this. Um, but like my next area, I would look for if that like setup had if I took it and failed, I would have looked like a sweep of this or like leave limits for the AA6 because hype is stronger, right, than the whole market. You can clearly see we are printing high lows on on the H4. So, you know, I think lower time frame entry, you could probably find one, and then like I'd say target would be $38 minimum. I think we hit if Bitcoin breaks out above 72, we would see 38, and my swing short plan hasn't changed. What's up? What's up, VNM? How you doing, brother? I longed early a bit and has planned to DCA. It will be stronger on weekend, I think, for sure, because markets close and DJ will train on hyper. Are you talking about gold or hyperliquid? Because well, that could apply to both, right? People were DJing on gold as well. Hype, gold, early long. Okay, okay. Where was it you exactly longed? What price? 5100. Oh yeah. I mean, it might look like a bad entry now, but if people start buying here, this could definitely keep on rallying. Um, it definitely. Ooh, I'm not sure whether this is gonna end up being like one of these, right, where we're just it nukes and then like it keeps on going for a couple of days. Um, we'll see. I mean, I would say like we are in times of uncertainty, so this should keep trending upwards. But we'll see. I mean, if investors are really feeling risk on, right, they're gonna go to risk on assets, not safe havens, you know. So we'll see. The fact that Bitcoin's showing this much strength during pretty much a war, right? Um, what if it's just shake out long term? Then gold will perform during war. Um, yeah, I mean, well, it should though. Like gold should perform, but you could also argue the fact that most of the new like they've already striked both sides have struck each other, right? So like it's somewhat priced in, and if things are really bad, why is Bitcoin going up? Because the economic like the state of the world right now is a lot worse than it was like back here in at the start of February. And this, I mean, I don't need to show you, right? You guys remember it was brutally down only. So why are we brutally going up only right now? You know, I'd say people are still I'd say people are feeling more risk on, starting to feel more risk on. The Jews already positioned long time. Yeah, man. The Jews are manipulating everyone. 100%. 100%. It's not the first time. It's not the last time. So, but it's good. It's good that people are waking up now. Main is short, SPX 500. Uh, this chart, right? Like the S&P on the Forex chart, right? Yeah, I like Trader Main. Um, I haven't. Which? So wait, I'll use this chart because it's cleaner, but I think I already have a chart. So you could have argued this was like range highs. We SFP'd it, and like it's been basically doing like lower lows ever since then. However, you could also argue we're in the process of making an SFP here. Um, we'll see how this H4 candle looks, but it looks interesting, right? Um, look, S&P's been doing this, right? Like recently. Um, so and Bitcoin's right now is currently doing this, right? Would you agree, Sash? So what happens when the S&P does this? If it does it, I'm not saying it will, but what happens if it does that? I mean, there's a high likelihood Bitcoin probably trades, you know, closer to 78. We'll see. Um, there are reasons to go. There are reasons for 100% to go short here. So I know why Main is short. He thinks we're close to a stock market like equity stock, right? I definitely think there's a chance for higher, one more leg higher. Um, I have not much idea about stocks, but interested to learn for the future. Yeah, I mean I'm not too into stocks either. I just sometimes look at the S&P and Nasdaq, mm, the two indices. Sometimes I look at like what MicroStrategy is doing, right? The stock, but it looks cooked. But anyways, yeah, we are at range lows. I wouldn't really bottom short here. I'm not gonna lie. Like you could argue like this whole area here is like demand. The areas to like swing short would be for me like up here. So I could literally just copy paste this and put it here. Maybe maybe make it a little bit more accurate. I would say I would say that's like actual supply. Like that H4 up candle here. I'd say that's an order block because it led to a structure break. Um, so yeah, if we see another move up to here, it does make sense to look for shorts. Or if we sweep once more, like there, then look for the short somewhere around here. If we sweep this high, um, I'm guessing he's scalping. Did he post that on his Telegram? The short. I've not looked at his Telegram in a while. Let me see. He posted a chart, but he didn't post like a P&L entry. I'm guessing. I'm guessing he's got to be short from the highs because. Um, but if I remember correctly, his bias is like that. At some point, we trade back to these highs here, somewhere there. Something like this, which would be like pretty brutal, man. But it wouldn't be the end of the world, right? People thought it was the end of the world here, so and it wasn't. So listen, I'm looking to buy. Look, 45% from the tariff lows. Could you imagine another crash? Like that would just be a generational opportunity for stocks at least, right? We'll see. I'm still waiting um, on Bitcoin to hit. Where was it? 39. Yeah, down here. That'd be lovely. Um, other than that, guys, if you want me to look at any alts, just let me know. Pop them in chat. I've pretty much covered my like most of my like intraday biases and high time frame biases for Bitcoin even so. Hyperliquid as well. I think obviously you guys know like it's one of the most bullish coins in the market. Dot, yeah, actually, I um I can't remember. I don't think it was you, but someone mentioned it this morning, and it did look very strong. Let me drop a new chart here. So what do we have here? Yeah, I mean, look at this. Look at this wick. H4 structure very bullish, right? Even though it's like small downtrend here, but I would say this is more of an internal move, setting up for like a potential like higher, right? I didn't really, if we look on the daily, like it didn't really sweep any major liquidity, did it? Like this move, it was a pretty fat move. I want to assume like some news caused it, but like listen, like in this market, usually when bullish news comes out, this is usually what happens. We print a Christmas tree on whatever altcoin the news got, but you know, like lower time frame, I would say, um, I don't. I mean, I don't usually trade this coin lower time frame, so let me see. We have like three stacked imbalances here, right? We've tagged the midpoint of the middle one, but in my opinion, I don't think it hits this one. So longs here make sense, right? This is definitely, if I draw a fib, right, from, I would say even the bottom here, I want to assume like we bottomed, okay, not exactly, but we bottomed around the point 0.5. Kind of, not really. Sort of. We didn't hit the golden pocket, but on very bullish assets, we like usually don't hit the macro 618 on the first pullback. It's always like a point 0.5 retrace because people are so bullish that they're betting before. H1 EMA 200 right now, clearly seeing a reaction here. I would say it's hard to put in validation, but targets are pretty easy, which would be like these equal highs here, right? What is that, 1.6181? I'm pretty sure those get swept if Bitcoin has a move up to like high 70s. Um, obviously, like you'd want to be looking at Bitcoin whilst you're in altcoins, because an altcoin sale can get easily ruined by Bitcoin. Not always, right? But for most altcoins, that's certainly the case. Um, so yeah, in terms of setups, like I don't see a super clean one, but to be honest, this at the same time, this isn't usually something I would trade. But yeah, those equal highs would be in my opinion, your target. And then for a short, maybe if it SFPs this, but I mean this is looking pretty strong. So we'll see. Any other alts? Just drop them in chat. I'm not. If I'm being honest, I'm not looking at too many alts these days. I found that like less is more. BNB is a one I was looking at. So like, if it had swept Monday low, I would have looked for a long. But it kind of like bottomed around that H1 200 EMA there. H4 200 EMA catching up now, so maybe that's a good short. I mean, initially like a couple weeks back, I was looking at this high, but we'll see. It could be a play. Lines up with like the point 0.5 of higher time frame 0.5 from which high. I use that high there because like on the H4, like I remember seeing like this little bounce here. So I would say that's like the MSB high. But either rejection here, or I think we get like this daily gap here, this imbalance. So maybe like if Bitcoin trades like 78, 80K, we'd see like BNB $724 around there. You also have like that, this like massive trend line here. So that lines up with that as well. You know, we're looking good, man. Things are looking pretty decent for a move up. I think you guys, I've talked about my bias several times. That I think potentially we get a greener March and April. So yeah. Um, well, I think I'll end it here. I don't see any more alts in the chat. Honestly, not too much to cover. Still holding this Bitcoin long, and still holding the Bitcoin short as well. Sorry, so short. So we'll see. I might move stops break even if we trade back, and I don't like how it looks right now. This looks like just like a short squeeze. We'll see. I'll wait to see how the H1 closes, and then yeah, I'll assess from there. We're hedged both ways, so whichever way the direction the market wants to go from here, I think we'll print them. So thanks guys for coming. Hope you enjoyed, and yeah, peace out. I'll catch you on Friday for our next stream.